The protagonist of this manhwa, Kim Jang-yun, isn't someone you'd expect to be a hero. Just a regular guy working in a logistics warehouse, barely getting by, hating almost every second of it. Why? Because the place is run almost entirely by robots who don't talk, don't laugh, don't even acknowledge him. He once tried making small talk with one, total silence. The isolation is suffocating. 2 months earlier, things weren't any better. Just after finishing his military service, Jang-yun's string of bad luck began. His parents moved to Wjangbu and, as a parting gift, paid for his apartment deposit and 6 months' rent. That left him living alone, near his old school, not exactly where he'd imagined starting adult life. With a bit of financial cushion thanks to government assistance and his parents' help, he figured he could take his time job hunting. But instead of finding a dream opportunity, he was hit with rejection after rejection. A month in, and the boredom was eating him alive. When venting to his sister one day, she poked fun at him for being unemployed, but also suggested a gig, working, with AI-based delivery services, which sounded futuristic and mildly interesting. So he gave it a shot. Now here he is, in a warehouse full of silent machines and not a single person to chat with. Just as he's zoning out, someone calls his name. A gruff, unfriendly older employee. A guy who could easily be mistaken for a middle manager approaches. He grumbles that the tuna stock seems off. The system says there's some left, but the shelves say otherwise. Jang-yun is told to check the storage manually. With a fake smile and a heavy heart, he agrees, secretly, thinking the robots have more warmth than this guy. Once inside the warehouse, the door closes behind him. He climbs a shelf and finally spots the missing tuna. Just as he reaches for it, the door slams shut. He tries the handle. Nothing. He shouts for his manager, Shin. No answer. He thinks about calling emergency services but decides against it. Not worth the fuss, he figures. Instead, he takes a selfie and texts his sister. Trapped. Send help? She jokes about it at first, but then says she just heard a building collapse nearby. That sends alarm bells ringing in Jang-yun's head. He calls her immediately. She picks up, but says nothing. The silence is eerie. Before he can decide whether it's a prank or not, the ground shakes violently. Alarms blare. A robotic voice begins shouting evacuation orders. He bangs on the door, hoping someone, anyone, is still out there. But no one responds. He tries calling again. No signal. Then the sound of pounding starts. Something is hitting the warehouse door from the outside. Hard. Each impact leaves a huge dent, like the steel is paper. He freezes, terrified. Whatever's out there, it's not human. He crouches, silently, praying it goes away. Eventually it stops, but the screaming outside hasn't. 3 days go by. He's still locked in, living off whatever snacks he can scavenge. The alarm that once screamed non-stop finally fell silent the day before. He's beginning to accept it. Some kind of massive disaster must have happened. Maybe even war. Ironically, the warehouse might be the safest place he could be. His phone's dying. Hope is fading. He records one last message in case someone finds it, asking whoever hears it to protect his family. Then, out of nowhere, a strange window pops up, like a video game notification. It tells him he's been chosen and asks him to view his new abilities. He thinks he's hallucinating from stress until another window opens. This one says he's gained a personal subspace, an inventory he can access at will. Now convinced there must have been something weird in those tuna cans, he brushes it off until yet another message appears. A target has been marked. The screen asks if he'd like to store it. Out of curiosity, and because, well, why not? He agrees. Suddenly, gravity disappears beneath him. He falls, hard, onto the pavement outside. Staggering to his feet, he finds the world around him in ruins. Buildings crumbled, cars overturned. His senior from earlier lies motionless nearby, clearly dead. System messages flash rapidly, but he's too busy vomiting from the shock. Then he hears it. Heavy footsteps behind him. He turns and sees a monstrous figure, towering, fanged, blood-drenched. Definitely not human. His brain can't process what he's seeing. He tries to rationalize, maybe it's a gorilla or a bear. But he knows better. He bolts. As he runs, dodging wreckage and stepping over bodies, another alert pops up. Synchronization complete. Would he like to enter his subspace? Without hesitating, he shouts, "Yes!" right as the beast swipes at him. A portal opens and pulls him in. Safe. The creature's roar echoes outside, but it can't follow. Confused but alive, Jang Yun looks around. A floating drone appears beside him, calmly explaining, "Only you can access this space. You control who enters. This world belongs to you now." And just like that, Jang Yun realizes he's standing in the same warehouse again, but now it's part of his personal pocket dimension. Whatever this new reality is, he's no longer just a powerless bystander. The facility is still crawling with the same robots Jang Yun saw before. As he steps further in, a system message appears, congratulating him on entering subspace for the first time. As a reward, a shimmering mana stone materializes in his palm. He barely has time to examine it before a thunderous bang shakes the portal behind him. The monster outside is still trying to break through. Startled back into reality, he nervously asks the system if the creature can get in. The system calmly reassures him. Nothing can enter without his permission. A new interface pops up, providing an overview of the PAX Fulfillment Center. It's a massive 5-story complex, covering 10,000 pyong, around 33,000 square meters, and fully equipped to enhance customer experience. It's capable of delivering items at 60 km/h, with packages as large as 2 meters. Jang Yun stares blankly at the data. The system doesn't let up. It adds that there are only 2 minutes left before the next maintenance cycle. Still trying to process everything, Jang Yun asks if the entire facility will shut down once the time is up. A nearby drone confirms it. However, it also explains that the mana stone he received can be used to power the facility for an entire day within subspace. The idea of running such a high-tech place on a single glowing rock stuns him. The drone continues. After being transferred into subspace, the PAX Center's energy source was modified to operate using mana stones. Still skeptical, Jang Yun wonders aloud if any of this is even real. But his doubts are cut short. The lights abruptly go out, and warning lights begin flashing. The system alerts him that power has been cut, and without it, PX Fresh products, including perishables like vegetables, meat, and ready-made meals, are at risk of spoiling. Jang Yun quickly realizes how critical that is. In a world turned upside down, food isn't just valuable, it's survival. He asks if a single mana stone can really keep the electricity flowing. The drone confirms it. "How do I get more?" he asks, already dreading the answer. As expected, the drone informs him that mana stones come from creatures from other dimensions. Jang Yun winces. The last thing he wants is to get into a fight with those abominations. He decides not to overthink it for now and tells the drone to activate the facility using the mana stone. Then he dashes inside, determined to arm himself. Inside, he grabs whatever weapons he can find. But another system message interrupts him. Each weapon has a price tag, and he doesn't have unlimited resources. If he's reckless, he could blow through his entire stockpile. Worse, he's not even sure these weapons can pierce the monster's hide. He considers a different tactic. Instead of trying to kill the creature outright, maybe he can weaken it over time. Since the beast can't enter subspace, there's no need to rush. He just needs to be smart, injure it gradually, and conserve his resources. He throws an axe to test the idea. It barely scrapes the creature's skin and only enrages it further. Realizing his initial strategy might not work, he grabs a heavier axe and asks the system how many are left. He braces for a small number, but the system responds with 15. That surprises him. Curious, he checks the storage area. and what he sees blows his mind. The axes are duplicating, infinitely. The system confirms his suspicion. These items are created using a process that allows for endless duplication. They can wear out, but they'll never truly run out. Jong Yun stands frozen. If this is real, he has an infinite arsenal. He asks again, just to be sure, and the system confirms it once more. A wave of relief washes over him. He now knows he can fight as long as he needs to without worrying about weapon shortages. Still, he thinks grimly, his arms might give out before the monster does. Then the system shares another revelation. He doesn't even need to throw the weapons himself. He can automate it. Items can be shipped from subspace to the outside every 30 seconds, with the option to speed up by upgrading his skills. All right, so how do I do that? Jong Yun asks, already picturing the possibilities. The system tells him he just needs to think of the item and say, ship. He does. Ship. In a blink, the axe is launched at high speed, slamming right into the monster's grotesque face. It crashes to the ground, defeated. Stunned, Jong Yun asks what just happened. The system explains. The axe was shipped at 60 kilometers per hour by a drone. That's what it meant earlier by shipping speed. He can increase the speed to 75 km/h, but anything faster will require skill upgrades. Naturally, he asks how to level up, and the answer is exactly what he feared: mana stones. That means fighting more monsters. He heads back into the facility to gear up. First, he grabs a pair of lightweight combat boots, about 50,000 won. Then tactical pants, 78,000 won. Finally, he picks up a detailed map of Seoul and a permanent marker. On the map, he circles the Gwangjin district, then marks a path connecting nearby zones, carefully planning his route. His final destination is Ijeongyu, where he hopes to find his parents. Starting from Gunpo and without a car, the journey won't be easy. But in this collapsed world, even a simple bicycle is worth its weight in gold. It might not be fast, but compared to walking, it's a godsend. For now, that bike might as well be a Lamborghini. Jong Yun mounts his bike and rides through the barren wasteland. The sun dips below the horizon about half an hour later, shrouding everything in darkness. By then, he's already slain nearly a dozen orcs. Covered in grime and blood, he reflects on the experience, each encounter teaching him something new. But just as he's about to share what he's learned, a new creature suddenly emerges from the shadows and lunges toward him. Without hesitation, Jong Yun pulls back, vanishing into his personal subspace, leaving the creature flailing outside. While the monster growls and prowls the perimeter, Jong Yun activates the shipment ability, sending an axe flying at incredible speed through the portal. The weapon slams into the creature's shoulder, leaving a deep wound. But it's not enough to finish it. He winces. The cooldown is 30 seconds, and he can't launch anything else just yet. Plus, he can only ship items within a 10-meter range. It's clear that while his powers are impressive, they still need polish. He'll need to gather more mana stones to refine and upgrade them. As Jong Yun strategizes, the monster senses movement and whips around, just in time to see the axe reappear through the same shimmering portal, this time crashing into its skull. The beast collapses. This is the hidden strength of the shipment skill. Its second function, product retrieval. Anything dispatched can be summoned back, making it just as dangerous coming in as it was going out. He retrieves the weapon once, more, and with it, the mana stone left behind by the monster. Curiously, he wonders why he can't just pull the stone out directly, without needing to kill the creature first. Pax, his interface, answers, the retrieval function only works after the monster's death, once it becomes his property. Stepping out of his subspace, Jong Yun shares another insight. These orcs aren't the only predators roaming the land. There are also winged beasts, deadlier, faster, and far more difficult to track. As if on cue, distant screams pierce the air. The scene shifts. A man named Choi runs desperately through the ruins, every step heavier than the last. Behind him, A flying beast closes in. It slams into his back with terrifying force, sending him sprawling in pain. Another man follows behind, clearly trying to help. But before he can, the winged monster crashes down between them, its mouth dripping with anticipation. It doesn't attack the second man, though. Instead, it stares hungrily at Choi, who lies helpless on the ground. The standing man is frozen. He has nothing but a small knife, hardly enough to defend himself, let alone save Choi. He's paralyzed with uncertainty. Then a sharp ringing cuts through the tension. A bicycle bell. The men glance up in confusion just as something streaks through the air and slams into the wyvern, sending it skidding across the ground. They watch, wide-eyed, as the beast lays motionless. The weapon? An axe. Jong-yun pedals up and quickly checks on them, concerned, but the two men can barely respond. They're stunned. How had someone riding a bike brought down a flying monster? With a single throw? One of them asks if Jong-yun is a soldier, bowing in thanks. Jong-yun gestures to his outfit, revealing the PAX FC logo on his uniform. He's not military, just an employee of the company. That revelation leaves them speechless. Even more surprising, the men already understand what abilities are. One of them explains that he's awakened a minor power. He can drive anything, but it hasn't been of much use lately. Choi, on the other hand, laughs and admits he hasn't awakened anything at all. Jong-yun asks if there are more survivors. Choi nods, explaining they're in Block C near a logistics center. There were once many people there, but when the monsters came, most were killed or eaten. Only about a dozen or so remain, hiding deep in the underground terminal. They'd been out searching for roads and gathering supplies when the wyvern attacked. The second man suggests they head down to their shelter on the 4th basement level. It's been secure so far, and they even offer Jong-yun some food and a place to rest. Jong-yun pauses, clearly interested in the mention of working vehicles. He needs that kind of intel badly. After thinking it over, he agrees to follow, though he stays on guard. Trust is earned, not given. As the trio walks off, the camera lingers on the wyvern's corpse. Jong-yun, quietly and without notice, reaches out and retrieves the mana stone. He slips it into his subspace, ensuring no one sees. It's a backup plan. If things go sideways, he can vanish into his own dimension in an instant. After some time, the group finally reaches the basement, only to find a man standing over the body of a slain orc. Choi immediately rushes over, alarmed, asking if everything is all right and what happened. The orc slayer calmly assures him that there's no need to worry. The creature had wandered in by chance but hadn't spotted them, allowing him to swiftly take it down. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the unexpected encounter leaves everyone uneasy, their confidence in the safety of the place shaken. Jong-yun, meanwhile, feels a chill creep down his spine. The danger of this area is becoming more and more real. His thoughts are interrupted when the orc slayer eyes him suspiciously and asks who he is. Choi quickly explains that Jong-yun was the one who saved them from the wyvern earlier. He used to work for PAX FC, and, more impressively, he brought the creature down with a long-range axe throw. Everyone's jaws practically hit the floor. Whispers of amazement spread through the group. Their curiosity about Jong-yun's abilities piqued. Suddenly, a woman runs up to him, beaming. "You saved Yong-su and Bayangal!" she exclaims, so overjoyed that she breaks into a little dance. The rest of the survivors begin to crowd around Jong-yun, praising him enthusiastically. He tries to downplay it, saying he only did what needed to be done. But the attention keeps coming until Choi steps in, playfully scolding the group for overwhelming the guy. The orc slayer then clears his throat and speaks up. He tells them that everyone here has survived together for more than 10 years, and Yong-su and Bayangal aren't just comrades. They're like family. His voice carries deep sincerity as he bows his head and thanks Jong-yun personally. He introduces himself as Lee Jin-mak, the center manager of Daehan Express Terminal. With the formalities out of the way, Jean Mac gives Jong Yun a quick rundown of their current situation. While he admits they can't promise total safety, this place is leagues better than being outside. They've got stockpiles of food and clean water, all thanks to the nearby logistics center. He urges Jong Yun to help himself, reassuring him that they can always go out for more supplies if needed. But just then, Yong-Soo speaks up, his expression tense. About that logistics center, it's gone. A stunned silence falls. Jean Mac blinks. What do you mean, gone? Choi steps forward. The whole building. It disappeared. That's why we were being chased by the wyvern. There's disbelief all around. The idea that such a large facility could simply vanish is absurd. But Jean Mac, after a moment of processing, nods slowly. After what we've seen, monsters, wyverns, maybe a vanishing building isn't so far-fetched. Jong Yun remains quiet, troubled. Could this somehow be connected to his subspace powers? Trying to get everyone focused, Jean Mac reminds the group that no matter what's happening, they can't afford to stay idle. We have to push through that tunnel, he says, urgency in his tone. Sitting here will only make things worse. Our time came a little earlier than expected, that's all. The woman who had danced earlier nods fervently. We can't give up now, she declares. Even without the logistics center, we move forward. Jong Yun turns to Jean Mac and asks what he means by forcing their way through. Jean Mac explains that all of them have homes outside the city, but the roads are blocked. If they want to make it out, the tunnel is their only shot. Vehicles are essential, but the paths are all closed off. North is cut off by a golf course, the east is jammed with containers, and the southern Yongdong Expressway has collapsed. Only one path remains, the tunnel to the west. Unfortunately, it's been overrun by wyverns. Until now, they survived by scavenging the logistics center, but with that option gone, they have to confront the danger directly. Jean Mac adds that Jong Yun doesn't have to go with them, on foot or by bike. There are other ways out, but Jong Yun insists on joining. He too needs a vehicle. The tunnel is the best option. Then you're welcome to come with us, Jean Mac says. Jong Yun smiles, agreeing. Still, a part of him knows to keep his abilities secret. The group seems trustworthy enough, but in desperate times, trust can be fragile. He tells Jean Mac that he'd like to scout the tunnel and get a feel for the wyvern situation. Truthfully, he's itching for another chance to use his powers and gather mana stones. A brief flashback shows Jong Yun defeating several monsters and saving up 5 stones. With those, he's reduced his skill cooldown to just 5 seconds. 3. New delivery skills now lie before him. Precise delivery, which ensures a perfect hit. Simultaneous delivery, which lets him send 2 items at once. And automatic delivery, which triggers deliveries on a timer. Each costs 10 stones, and while he's intrigued, he hasn't fully grasped how automatic delivery works yet. Back in the present, Jong Yun grins. More stones await. At least that's what he thinks, until he realizes Yong-Soo is tagging along. Why? Are you coming? Jong Yun asks, confused. It's too dangerous to go alone, Yong-Soo replies. You were the one being chased by the wyvern, Jong Yun mutters. Exactly. That's why you'll save me again. Yong-Soo grins. Jong Yun sighs. When he asks Yong-Soo if he's seen any message windows since awakening, Yong-Soo admits he hasn't, but he feels like he has some kind of driver-related ability. It just hasn't kicked in yet. Not exactly reassuring. As night falls, they tear through the streets on an electric bike at breakneck speed. Jong Yun clutches tightly, sweating nervously as Yong-Soo drives one-legged, weaving around parked cars with insane agility. What are you doing? Jong Yun yells. You can't even see, Yong-Soo yells back. That visibility is bad because of all the vehicles. And then he spots something up ahead, a wyvern. Jong Yun tells him to stop. The creature's gaze fixes on them. What do we do? Yong-Soo stammers. Suddenly, a projectile comes soaring from the sky, and slams into the beast, taking it out in one hit. Yong-soo is dumbfounded. Jong-yun calmly tells him to keep going and not to look back. While speaking, he casually retrieves the mana stone and slips it into his subspace. Up ahead, the tunnel finally comes into view. Yong-soo slams the brakes. Why? "Are you stopping?" Jong-yun starts to ask, but then he sees it. Dozens of monsters, all crawling, snarling, waiting. Yong-soo is shaking. There's no way they can outrun that many, not even on electric bikes. Jong-yun knows what he has to do. He opens his system and dumps all his mana stones, slashing the cooldown from 30 seconds to just 5. Yong-soo watches in confusion. "What are you doing?" Jong-yun doesn't answer. As the monsters start closing in, Jong-yun raises his hand and shouts, "Ship!" A projectile drops out of thin air, striking the lead creature and saving them just in time. As Yong-soo looks back in disbelief, his eyes widen. A portal has appeared behind them.